summer of the kind of movie love, hoping for some more of anything that comes along. Oh, forever high above, the kind of feeling of letting go and go free falling, living on top of the world. Blue skies and night swings, never keeping track of time.
Well, it finally happened. Today's the day I go to prison. No, I'm seriously actually going to prison. Alright, so today is mine and Carlin's anniversary, and I bought tickets to the Kingston Pen Tours, which is something I've been waiting to go on for a while. I don't know why I was waiting, but I was waiting. And for those of you who aren't really familiar with my backstory, I used to work in a prison. I worked in Millhaven Penitentiary. I wasn't a correctional officer, I was security, which meant it was my responsibility to escort contractors around the prison, like electricians, carpenters, plumbers, masons, people that are doing maintenance and repairs, because they can't be leaving tools behind. They need to know where to go, and I need to be able to navigate the prison with them to make sure they don't get stuck in the middle of a inmate movement and stuff like that. In my time working security in the prisons, I have worked in every prison in Kingston. I worked in Millhaven. I've worked in Bath, Joyceville, Pittsburgh, Collins Bay. The only one I have yet to work on, or work in, or be inside, is Kingston Penitentiary. Needless to say, I'm super excited about this because I never had an opportunity to be in it before it closed. So this is super exciting. So I'm going back to the car to let Carlin know. We were just checking if the prison was stroller accessible or not, which it is. That's good news. So I'm just on my way back to get them. Canadian graffiti. Hi.
Hi. He's awake. Baby!
1 out of 2 children is coming with us because one has school and the other is too small. So she's gonna...
Wow, your mom's having eye surgery. That's the real reason.
my mom's gonna be out of commission for a bit because of eye surgery. She's fine. She will be fine. So that's it, we're done with the Kingston Pen Tour. Unfortunately, couldn't get any video footage. Apparently, video and audio recordings are strictly prohibited, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me, but that's not my rules, it's theirs.
Your mom did it.
Yeah, my mom did it. And the only reason I didn't really do it was because this video is destined for the internet. And if, like, I can't in good conscience violate the rule and then put it on the internet, because that makes me the same douchebags that I hate. So I did, however, get these pictures, which are perfectly legal, and I'll put them up right now.
I know we're moving fast, and some say we won't last, but I will be alright as long as I know I'm with you. Oh, forever summer high, I know that we'll be fine. Letting go and go free falling, living on top of the world. Blue skies and night swings, never keeping track of time.
And the only actual video I got was this small clip where I'm using it. I use the screen grab from the thumbnail. Be really tricky if I want to. Oh. Here, look upset. Now you can take it. Thanks. Thank you. So we bought Brennan keys, because Brennan always jokes about locking us in jail. So now he has keys to actually lock us in jail.
I'm so excited about that.
What are we doing now?
Lunch?
Lunch.
Are you hungry?
I am hungry. Alright, we've had lunch. I am over full. We got coffee and tea. And it's hitting me now that I've been up since 2:30 a.m. So we'll do this Q&A thing super fast, and then we're gonna go home and pick Brennan up. So, yeah. Location scouting.
Shoot from the side? I don't know. Okay, you know it.
You're hungry?
fighting or are they having sex?
Carlin is distracted by sexually
Look at
active grasshopper. Yeah,
now
that's
they're one
awesome.
on top of the other.
That looks like sex to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Grasshoppers having sex.
That is grasshopper fucking right there. All right, this is good.
That's hilarious. Homebound?
Power through the questions before it starts to pour. Okay, so the first question is, actually I want to address the first question, which was asked by Brittany, who was somebody we met in the NICU, and also one of the one of the first people that actually recognized me in public without being a client of mine. So shout out to Brittany. And she asked, "What is life like with 2 kids?" It's about twice as sleep deprived as life with 1 kid. Other than that, we don't see a big difference. Brendan's not the jealous type. He's a super awesome big brother. So that's a pretty easy answer. How we met. This is like legitimately wrote down answers. We met online. We were both members of Plenty of Fish, and we met in 2011. We dated for about a month and then we split up. I was going through like an identity crisis at that point in my life, and the relationship didn't really last very long because I was just, things just weren't working out for either of us because of the way I was behaving. And when I finally got my head on straight, like a year and a half later-ish.
No, 6 months.
6 months later, the first thing I needed to do was apologize to Carlin for how I treated her. I didn't intend on getting back together. If it happened, I was definitely open to it, but at the time I just wanted to make sure she understood that I was sorry for how the relationship went. It should have went better.
And this is a good guy.
And
Who the hell apologized?
So we ended up getting back together, and it's been this ever since.
5 years.
First kiss. So on our first date, we met at Tim Hortons for our first date. We had smoothies, and I had a strawberry smoothie without knowing that she is pretty allergic to strawberries, or was. We haven't tested it yet. So I wanted to kiss her on the first date, but couldn't because I was kind of concerned with her going to anaphylaxis. So I had to wait until, was it like later that night when you visited? I was working security, and she visited me. If you see the camera shaking, it's because this is mounted on the stroller and Brooklyn's kicking right now.
Yeah, I brought you coffee at work.
Yeah, she brought me a coffee and I kissed her then because I figured at that point the strawberries were out of my system. How did I propose? So it was really, so Brennan was about 6 months old-ish at the time, and he had kind of a crappy night, and we were both up insanely early. We've been up since about 5 a.m. and we had the conversation. We were talking about marriage. We were talking about, but like, I can't remember what you said, but we were talking about how ideally it would play out. And for me, ideally, it would be like a very short engagement, like couple months, married, done. I couldn't do one of these 3-year engagement things. So she was like, fine, we can stay, like, as soon as we get engaged, we'll plan the wedding for like 2 or 3 months. And I called her bluff and went and grabbed my grandmother's ring, which is her engagement ring, which I had had in my possession since she had passed away 8 or 9 months prior, and proposed that morning. So
It's like 7 a.m.
it's at 7 a.m. I haven't heard you curse that much since
I
or
don't know
before.
why I did.
Because you were surprised?
Surprised, excited, happy.
What's
And
your
we
problem,
were married
kid?
2 months later.
Yeah. Somehow Carlin managed to pull off a wedding in 3 months for an insanely cheap price.
Don't call her that on camera.
I can edit it out.
We're admiring a bee right now.
Advice for couples just starting out: wear protection, because every moment is gonna be interrupted by the thing you hear behind the camera if you don't.
My point was better.
What is your point?
Communication.
That's such a cliche answer.
Communication is key.
You should communicate.
True, though.
Come on, give a
We
non.
talk things out.
We
and
do.
talk our
We have
fights
great
out,
communication, but
and-
everybody knows that you should communicate as a couple. So,
Yeah, but
what's your real
not
answer?
everybody does it.
Give a non-Mrs. America pageant answer.
Well, I also said take time for each other. Take time for yourselves.
Take time for yourself. That's good.
So.
That's not like, I wish for world peace.
No.
My advice for couples beginning: don't hide your bull. Don't hide who you are. Don't hide your foibles that you're embarrassed about. Don't hide the true person you are, because trust me when I say this, it will come out at some point. It's better off to be that person from the start. So if that person's gonna get scared away by that bullshit, let them go. I can't say that we did that. I don't know that we were completely and utterly 100% authentically ourselves, because we were both in our like early 20s, early to mid 20s when we got together. So we were still in that stage of the game where like we cared about what people thought about us. Where like, you're still kind of in that stage, but I'm way out of it. But like, that's one piece of advice I give almost everybody is don't hide who you are, be authentically who you are. And if that person's worth sticking around for, they'll stick around. And if they're not and they can't hang, then go kick rocks. That's my advice. My advice is better than your advice. Have great sex. So one of the questions Bobby Joe asked, does my wife share the same passion for dogs that I share? I'll caveat this with one thing. My passion for dogs stems from a passion for learning. So like, and I've said this before, I probably won't be a dog trainer my whole life. At some point I'm going to sidestep into something different. It's naturally what I do. I get off on learning. The thing I love about dogs so much, and I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but I love the complexity of behavior. It's given me something to dig my nose into for 5 years, and that's one of the biggest reasons I've stuck with it so long, is because it's something that every day I turn a new leaf and I'm like, I've never thought of that before, and that's one of the reasons that makes dog behavior interesting to me. So I'll let you answer that.
Well, I love dogs and I want to help every animal, but I'm not a dog trainer.
So you like,
we both like dogs, but I like the cuddling and lovey aspect.
Carlin likes hanging with dogs.
Yeah.
She's like most people where it's like, if a dog doesn't want none of her, she doesn't want none of it.
I could chill in a dog cafe all day.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be fun.
The last question will end on The last question will end on this. What breed was your first dog?
Oh.
What breed was your first? Your first dog
Rocky.
was Rocky. So
Rocky.
anybody
Black Lab Border Collie.
Anybody that knows me knows Rocky.
My baby.
You guys might, if you don't know the story already, you should. But if you don't, Rocky was her dog when I met her, and Rocky's the reason I became a trainer. Rocky's the reason that I dug into dog behavior, was because Rocky, when I met her, was a little nutty, and I could see it putting strain on Rocky's and her relationship. Therefore, it was kind of affecting mine. So my desire to learn kind of kicked in, and that led me to where I am now, 5 years later, which is almost 1,000 followers on Facebook. By the way, you could share this video and help me get to 1,000 followers. That'd be really awesome.
Your first dog.
My first dog.
It was a hound, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. We had two dogs. Yeah, we had two dogs early in my life that didn't last very long in our household. One was like a Benji looking dog. It was like a mixed breed, like a wire-haired terrier. And another one was a beagle. Neither of which lasted very long. I didn't have much say in this. I was pretty young. Dogs didn't fit our family. My dad did what he thought was best for the family. Gave those dogs to a better home. The first dog that was in my life as an actual pet and an actual dog was Sophie, my little dog, who is a border terrier cross, who's still with us today. I think that's everything. Mm-hmm. That's all the questions. This has been a Q&A from a married couple.
With kids.
Bet you that goes over really well on a dog channel. Let's go.